Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. Welcome to this week's Pull List Show, a show where I just kind of go over the stuff that I bought. I was able to get all my comics today, um, so we're just doing it on Wednesday. Normally, this takes me a few days because I got to go to a couple different comic shops, but not today. Uh, so let's get started. I did not get as many comic books as I did last time. Um, I bought a bunch of them last time because I hadn't been to my shop Titan in a couple weeks. But this time I was there last week. I was able to go again this week. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me bring on the comic book cam. Here it is, comic book cam. Um, Once again, I was just testing out to make sure that everything looked good with the Hellfire, the official guide to the Hellfire Gala, which is the next event coming up from the X-Men. So if you're reading that, if you're watching that, and you must be super excited, kind of like me. So, but let's go ahead and look at stuff that I actually bought this week. And we'll get started with DC Comics this week. Let's put this one aside. First up, we have Batman 108. This is a continuing story by James Tynion with artists Ricardo Lopez and Jorge Jimenez doing this cover. This is actually the first appearance of this new character named Miracle Molly. Miracle Molly. I haven't read it, so I don't know like what the whole deal is. I'm actually behind on this story. I stopped reading Batman at the last arc, so I need to catch up. But in true Daniel fashion, I also picked up the Artgerm variant for Batman 108, which also features Miracle Molly. And these are Artgerm. You'll see that it's one of my favorite artists when they do covers. So yeah, I was very excited to be able to pull this one. This one is cardstock, so it's one of those a little nicer. And for those of you that used to collect comics when the New 52 was going on, you may remember DC Comics used to have their main titles on cardstock, like Justice League and stuff like that were coming cardstock covers for the same price too. So it's not like they were even charging extra. All right. Next up from DC Comics, The Crime Syndicate #3. This is a limited series, only going to be 6 issues long, and it follows the villains from the Crime Syndicate from Earth 3. I believe they're on Earth 3 now. Originally, they were on Earth 2, but after the New 52, Earth 2 has been occupied with different heroes. I'm also behind on this one, so I don't know exactly what's going on. This is one of the things that miniseries like this, although I collect them in floppies, which is the single issues, I like to read them as a whole. So I'll probably read this once the whole thing is out. And the last one, which I was not planning on buying, this was not on my pull list, but I will buy pretty much any variant cover featuring Red X. I love Red X. I love that run of I love the Teen Titans animated series from back in the day when before they went little with the Teen Titans Go, and Red X is such a cool character. I'm actually reading Teen Titans Academy to try to figure out who Red X is and what's going on there. This it looks like this issue features Red X, so I'm not sure. I don't know why he's on the cover, but as you can see in the back, you can see the Justice the Suicide Squad kind of just all beat up in the background. Let me see who the I didn't even know who the artist was on this. I just picked it up. Yeah, I hate DC doesn't put all their credits right at the beginning, like a normal company should. Mm, let's see. So it looks like this was by Gerald Perel. I'm not familiar with that name, so you'll have to forgive me. Next up, we're gonna do the Marvel books. Not a lot of DC this week, but it's enough where I can get a few things and actually start reading some of them. Next up, the big Marvel event for the summer, Heroes Reborn #1, by Jason Aaron, and with art by Ed McGuinness on art. This is not Ed McGuinness art on the cover. This is Lenio Yu. Um, Once again, I'm very excited for this issue. I haven't read it. I've heard mixed reviews from people that I talk to throughout the day about comics and stuff like that. But I'm kind of on board with the concept, so we'll see how it goes. Um, and once again, in true fashion, the Archer variant of Power Princess, I believe is her name, which is the Wonder Woman of the Squadron Supreme. But Argerm, once again, just doing an amazing cover that there was no way I could not pick it up. So if you're keeping track, there's 2 Argerm covers this week. And if you follow me on Twitter or follow the podcast on Twitter, we'll be giving away some digital codes because I have extra digital codes since I bought variants. So we'll be giving away a digital code for Heroes Reborn #1. And here, the next comic, Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, Alpha. Alpha. So this is a prelude to the kind of the event. This story will cover Han Solo when he's frozen in carbonite at the end of Empire. Yeah, at the end of Empire. He's got to travel back to Tatooine somehow, right? So I believe this story will cover that gap in time until maybe the movies or an animated TV show chooses to retcon. And some of the Star Wars comics have been retcon recently. If you're keeping up, you know what I'm talking about. But no spoilers here. Speaking of Star Wars stuff, tomorrow evening we will be doing a live talking about the new Star Wars animated show, The Bad Batch. I'll have my co-host from the What the Real podcast. We'll be going live around 8:30 Central, so make sure to subscribe and come, watch the show. So because we're gonna go full spoilers. Now this one, this week I was listening to my friends over at the I Read Comic Books podcast. They mentioned that there was about 40 different variant covers for this comic, and I was like, well, that's cool. I like Boba Fett. I want 40 different covers. So today when I was going out, I was like, well, let me see how many I can find. So here's the first one. That was one that I could find easily. That one was not a big deal to get. Pretty accessible. Let me see if I can find who did this one. Yu is it Lenio Yu? Yeah, same artist as the cover for Heroes Reborn. So unfortunately, these 2 covers were the only ones I could find out of all the ones that are there. So I don't know if some of the other ones are like store exclusives or what the issue may be there. So unfortunately, I was not able to get more covers, at least not for now. Maybe over the weekend I'll have time to go visit some other shops. I really don't like buying covers online because it kind of defeats the purpose of me like going hanging out at the comic shop. Although right now there's not a lot of hanging out. I just kind of pick up my stuff and then head out. But yeah, anyways. So once again, follow at Next Issue Podcast on Twitter because we will be giving away one of those digital codes for War of the Bounty Hunters. All right, next up, we get 2 X-Men books. First up, Hellions #11. I love the Hellions. I'm a little behind on this one, but I know that, as you can see here, our friendly psychopath, Arcade, is putting them through the ringer. If you're not familiar with Arcade, think of what if Jigsaw from the Saw movies was in the X-Men universe. That's the best I can describe that. And also we have Marauders number 20. Once again, I'm also behind on this book, so I haven't read this specific issue, but I like the inclusion of Kate, Storm, and Nightcrawler in their, I want to say maybe 90s look. Mohawk Storm when she was with the Morlocks. Uh, Kate, or Kitty Pryde, what she was known back then, has gone through so many outfits, so many different code names: Shadowcat, Sprite. So it's definitely interesting to see the evolution, and of course, our best friend, our buddy, our pal, Nightcrawler, who is starting his own religion. And if you don't believe me, go read Way of X. All right, that brings us to one more thing. When you go to your comic shop and you get your copy of Heroes Reborn, ask them, do you have the trading cards that come with Heroes Reborn? We're gonna open this at the end so we can see what the trading cards are. But make sure to ask, because sometimes the comic shop forgets. They're busy on Wednesdays, but Marvel sends them all the stuff to pass out with the comics. For the most part, most stores, they don't keep that stuff. They don't try to resell it or whatever. All right. First up, from Aftershock, Baby Teeth by Donny Cates. I believe this series is ending soon. I don't think this is the last issue, but it could be. But we can do some. I do have here some reference. Baby Teeth. Let's see. Okay, this is the final 4 issues. And this will be monthly. So yeah, we're almost done. So 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this should end at issue 20. Yeah, Donny Cates, Gary Brown, very cool book about what if the Antichrist was born, and kind of go from there. That's all I'll give you because I don't want to spoil the book. Very cute baby though. Next up, from Bad Idea Comics, which has been kind of a roller coaster to collect. Luckily, my shop is very good about Tyne has plenty of copies of ENIAC number 3. They also are very good at just not selling more than they should and all that stuff. So great place to get your Bad Idea comics. And I think locally here in Dallas Fort Worth area is the only place to get Bad Idea comics. So ENIAC number 4. ENIAC stands for the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. It's supposed to be like a supercomputer that delivers pretty much the victory in any kind of battle, but obviously things go wrong, as Matt Kent would have it. So yeah, go check it out. These books are pretty funny, always in the back. I think it's got an interesting design. It's an interesting choice to just fill it up with barcodes. Now these Bad Idea comics, remember, they're not available online. They're not available collected. They will only be available in the single issue printed edition. All right, next up, we have Noctera number 3 by Scott Snyder and Tony Daniel interiors. Although this time I got the Krudansky cover. I liked it more than the original. I really like the design and the colors of just like kind of monochromatic. So yeah, this book is about pretty much what happens when the eclipse wipes out the world, kind of like how we adapt as humans. I don't know, it's pretty cool. If you might have seen my unboxing of the deluxe hardcover edition from the Kickstarter. So yeah, very interesting. I'm enjoying the book so far, but it's not at the top of my to read pile, I will say that. Next up, from Dark Horse, God of War, Fallen God. I'm only picking this up because I love the God of War story and the mythos. The first issue left me with a little bit of a bad taste because it was pretty much a retelling of everything of like who Kratos is. It was definitely, I felt like that should have been a zero issue of like, this is who Kratos is, and now we have our story. Because if this is a limited series, which probably will be, because comic book properties, or sorry, video game properties don't last long. Um, yeah, I think it won't go on. Uh, I think it won't be too long here. Sorry, I was just checking one quick thing. So yeah, but I'm already three in. I'll probably get the. I don't think we have many left. So far, we've only have 4 in the database. So this may be the. I wonder if we're almost done with this series. Who knows? All right. Next up, another bad idea book. Um, this one I wasn't sure. I didn't know that it was coming out today until this morning when I was checking um, my polls. This one's called Whalesville. Um, another book by Matt Kent with Adam Polina cover, or sorry, yeah, cover and art. Let's see. Let's read the solicit. You never thought you'd see a bad idea like this. From Limitless Imaginations of New York bestselling time. Well, that's that's a nice solicit when you uh, pump up the team. Uh, when young Wawa, the seaborn son of a whaling captain, is thrown overboard and swallowed whole by a whale, he knows his father will relentlessly pursue against the creature that stole away his boy. Okay, we've heard a story and we've read a story about a man and a whale multiple times. So yeah, I'll check this out. This looks pretty cool. It's got a really interesting. The backs of the bad idea books they're just very interesting. But you let me know if you pick this up. Let me know what you think. I haven't read it. Once again, that's one of those books that's only available if like you can get bad idea books, unfortunately. So, all right, next up, win number 6. I'll finally be able to read this book. I read the first one, and I enjoyed the premise, but the pacing felt like this was written for a graphic novel and then broken up into pieces to sell as single issues. I don't know if anybody else has read this. Let me know if you also felt that was the case. That's not saying that I didn't like the book. I did like the book but I just felt that it would read better as a trade. So now that I have the 6th issue, I can actually go back and read everything, or at least the first arc. I don't know that this is an ongoing, but we can find out. Yeah, it will be an ongoing because we have solicitations for Win 7 and 8. So we're going to get at least 10 to 12 issues. All right, next up, we have another Boom Comics. And if your store doesn't get a lot of Boom Comics, I hope you have been able to find some of these because unfortunately, I've heard that some of these Boom Comics are the number ones are selling really well because people buy them just to resell them. Because Boom Comics have been recently, a lot of them have been turned into like other properties or being adapted for TV shows and movies and all that, and that always really ups the value in the single issues. So this is Eve number 1. Let's see. When the ice caps melted, most of humanity was lost to the hidden disease that was released. Oh boy. Now a mysterious girl named Eve has awoken in secret and must deal with the world that's nothing like the virtual reality she was raised in. In order to save her father, Eve must embark on a deadly quest across the country, but she has no idea what threats await her or the price she'll pay to restore life to a dying planet. Oh, that's kind of grim. This cover does not tell me that this book is going to be that grim. Jeez. Yeah, I look forward to checking this out. I don't see... It's got a 4.5 average rating at the moment on... I use League of Comic Geeks, by the way, to keep track of all this stuff. Where I get... It's the best... Because it is crowdsource. It's kind of one of the best sources of information. So, all right. The last book that was on my pull list is The Good Asian by, and excuse the pronunciation, Pornsak Pish Shot. Oh, oof. Yeah, so the main reason I bought this book is because we recently read with the I Read Comic Books gang. We read Infidel, which is a horror book from the same creator, and when this book was announced, I was like, yeah, I'll read something else by this creator. Like the first one was cool. So let's see. This book follows Edison Hark, a haunted, self-loathing Chinese American detective on the trail of a killer in 1936 Chinatown. The Good Asian is Chinatown noir, starring the first generation of Americans to come of age under an immigration ban, the Chinese as they are besieged by rampant murders, abusive police, and a world that seemingly never changes. Wow. Yeah, this is, I mean, it's a good premise. I like a good noir crime book. I like to see that there's stories about, people of color as well, because there were people of color back then, and they had occupations like being a detective and stuff. So, very interesting premise. I'll always check out a good number one from Image. They have a good track record with me. All right, now we have two books that were not part of my pull list. First up, Jenny Zero, and then the subtitle is Party Monster. So let me go find some information about this book. Whoops. Jenny Zero. Oh, maybe this was from last week. I don't see. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Oh, here we go. Jenny Zero. What is this book about? Is this a reprint? What's happening here? Oh, this was released April 14th, 2021. Why was it on the new comics pile? I wonder if it's not a second print. Okay, maybe Jeremy just got some new ones. Okay, so I wonder if I already bought this. Okay, meet Jenny Tetsuo, the hard-drinking, hard-partying daughter of beloved superhero Mega Commander Zero. After washing out as a military top kaiju killer, I like that premise already. Kaiju killer, daughter of a superhero, got a lot of check marks that I like. Jenny now lives the celibate life in her with her hotel heiress and publicist best friend, Dana Sheraton. That's funny. Or Dana Sheraton. But when massive creatures return, Jenny must decide if she can sober up and save the world. Okay. Well, man. So if I'm gonna check if I did buy this in again, by mistake. Oh, so weird. It was on the new comic book wall. If I did buy this again, we'll do this. We'll just have a giveaway. So my loss is our viewers and listeners and followers gain. So stay tuned on the Twitters. All right, and the last book, and I'll have to look at this one again as well because I know nothing about. From Black Caravan, Broken Souls Ballad. Once again, give me a second to go here. Oh, Scout Comics. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't find the Scout. Here we go. All right. Broken Souls Ballad by Massimo Rossi and Ludovico Sergati. St. Abigail's Institute creates monsters, and those monsters are teenagers. The story begins as several teenagers discover that they possess out of the ordinary abilities in each case related to their psychosomatic conditions. The resulting trauma caused by horrific discovery leads them to stray from their normal teenage lives, some to seek answers, others to in a desperate attempt to escape their terrible fate. Meanwhile, a mysterious organization working for the government begins to track down the kids in the goal of bringing them home. Um, wow. I only grabbed this book because the cover looked rad. So, if you read this book, there's no reviews on the website yet, which tells me that not a lot of people have picked it up. I'm not familiar with either of the creators or the artist for the variant cover, or I don't really pick up a lot of Scout comics, which looks like they have a small imprint called Black Caravan. So if you read this, if you have any idea of anything that they've done before, let me know in the comments because I am definitely not familiar with that. Okay. With that, we now come to the most exciting part of the show, maybe, because we do have to wrap it up here in a minute. Well, we don't have to, but I choose to wrap it up in a minute. Okay. These are not collectible anymore. I've ruined them forever, but I'll do it for the audience. We have a card of Hyperion. Hyperion, his real name is Mark Melton. He's with the Squadron Supreme of America. He is the last survivor of a destroyed planet. First appearance in Avengers 10. Did you know Hyperion imprisons his mightiest foes in an extra-dimensional realm called the Negative Zone? So, as you guys may or may not know, the Squadron Supreme are pretty much like just substitutes for the Justice League of America in the Marvel Universe. So this is their Superman analog. The next card is Thor. And Thor's a villain in the Heroes Reborn universe. That's super cool. Maybe I don't want to read too much to avoid spoilers. Dr. Spectrum is their Green Lantern analog. Blade is a supervillain, but we also kind of know from the synopsis that Blade is our protagonist for Heroes Reborn. That's so interesting. Mephisto, supervillain. Yeah, no shit. Power Princess, whose cover I got earlier, the Argent cover. There's the Wonder Woman analog. Nighthawk. I want to say he's the Batman analog, but I feel like Nighthawk is a little bit more violent. At least when I've read it. But yeah, he is the Batman analog. Captain America, who is also a supervillain. This is insane. What's happening here? The Blur, who is the Flash analog. And that's it. The little card with the same cover that we saw earlier. So make sure to go to your comic shop and tell them, do you have my collectible cards with my comic? If I'm able to get more of these packs, I'll probably give them out and give them away or something. So leave a comment below if you have read Heroes Reborn, and you let me know if you liked it, if you disliked it, if you want to read more, if you're planning to buy any of the, 10 times that have been announced for it. All right, before we get out of here, I want to do some plugs for some people that I like. First up, if you're wondering where I got this really cool, awesome drawing, this was a commission that I did. My buddy Jade Dickinson is an artist. You can find her art on Jade_sketches, I think, on Instagram, or Jade Sketches on Instagram. Ooh, I'm real bad about that. Yeah, I'll put the link on the description of the video. Also, go check out the website where I get a lot of my reviews for comics, budwhythopodcast.com. And then as far as things to listen to other than the Next Issue podcast, I recommend the I Read Comic Books podcast, hosted by my buddy Mike and a rotating cast of pretty dope people, if I do say so myself. They just did an episode about the awesomeness that is Todd McFarlane and his trip and along to getting Image Comics along with all the other creators off the ground and all that stuff. You can find them at ireadcomicbookspodcast.com. They recommend a lot of this stuff, and they're the people that I kind of talk to throughout the day to figure out, what things I should pick up, what things that are good, so stuff like that. I'm gonna read Heroes Reborn. I'll come back and I'll probably talk about it on our live this weekend, so I can tell you guys how that goes. Last but not least, if you need more Mortal Kombat in your life, I want to recommend you two podcasts. First, go listen to at Mortal Podcast with Ben Meckler, where he submits one of his friends or acquaintances from the internet to a telling of a character story from the Mortal Kombat mythology, but just from the point of view of that one character. So you won't hear the whole story of Mortal Kombat. I mean, I guess we eventually will hear all of it when we get through all the characters. But also, if you're thinking of revisiting the 1990s movies and or even the TV show that is now available on HBO Max, you can check out my buddies over at Mortal Podquest. Oh, sorry, MK Podquest. I always get them. I'm gonna get so much shit from them. MK Podquest, which is a podcast that started just watching the Mortal Kombat Conquest series that, like I said, is now available on HBO Max to watch. They recently finished that series. They are now rewatching the movies. And yesterday they dropped a really cool episode where, or maybe it was today. Yeah, today in the morning they dropped an episode where they're talking about the novelization of the 1995 movie. And it's so cool. Like, I've never read it, but I really enjoyed listening to them talk about it. And last but not least, and this is where I'm going over next, go check out the YouTube channel I Freaking Love Comic Books. They are an amazing channel that they get a lot of interviews with comic creators, and I'm actually gonna go check out their live right now. After this, we're actually ending our stream now because their stuff starts at 7, and I want to be there in the chat. So thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm enjoying doing this show again. Hopefully in the future, maybe I'll have some guests or somebody talking to me while we go through this. But let us know what you're reading below in the comments. Give it a like, share, subscribe if you are new to the channel and you kind of stumbled onto this. I pick up comics almost every week, so this will be at least a bi-weekly show. But for now, as long as we can do it, I'll do it weekly. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Join us tomorrow. Like I said, Bad Batch episode 1 review, which was a 70-minute premiere, so you're gonna get a lot of discussion tomorrow. If you haven't watched the Bad Batch, it's on Disney now. Released yesterday in May the 4th. Also, if you want to see me talk about Star Wars, go check out my buddies over at What the Show. Just Google What the Show on YouTube. But I'll put the links on all these things. I'll try to put the links on all these things afterwards in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching, and keep reading comics. We'll see you guys tomorrow and over the weekend when we do our next issue podcast live with all the co-hosts. Bye-bye.